Well, one thing I want to mention is that for chapter 1, there's no math, which can be good news for some students. Just introduction. And from next chapter, chapter 3 is can be a little bit challenging because there's a lot of math, statistics. Well, that's the reason you take statistics 2 before come to this class, right? But for the first chapter, we just have a brief journey on what we will learn in this class and what's happened in the field of operations management. Okay, several objectives. So we want to define what is operations management. We also want to define supply chain and supply chain management. They are very similar, but they have some difference. We'll also consider the similarities and the difference between the manufacturing industry and the service industry. Well, for example, many of you are now working probably in the service industry, right? So like cashier, waiter, waitress, or like analysts, right? Those are all service industry. It's very different with the production or manufacturing industry. Why we need to learn operation management? Beyond is required for your graduation, right? So the reasons, right? 3 major functional areas for organizations and explain why they relate to each other. Marketing, finance, operation that relate to each other. We also summarize 2 major aspects of process management. Describe different operations function and what is your job opportunity if you become an operations manager. Right? Key aspects of operation management, decision making. Describe historical evolution of the OM. I will let you read the parts because this is pretty straightforward. Describe the current issues in business, current trend, well, like e-business, something like that, that have some influence on our field, operations management, right? And finally, come back to supply chain. Explain the lead to manage the supply chain. All right, first, definition. What is operations? Well, the definition is that the operation is the part of a business organization that's responsible either manufacturing, producing goods, or providing service. Right? How can we define operation management? Now we know operation. What is that operation? So the management, we know that. So that's the reason you come to this school of business. It's the management of system or process that creates good or provides service. Pay attention to this process. Because we'll talk about process again and again in this semester. When we talk about management, we should also think about first decomposing into different parts, different process. And then they are related to each other, then become the big picture. So that's the definition of OM. Okay, 2 typical industry nowadays, right? Is manufacturing and service. The goods include like raw material parts and final products. Typical industry include the automobile, computer, oven, shampoo, that's industry. Services can be like our industry, education, we provide service, right? Air travel, healthcare, legal counsel, that's all service industry. Then, supply chain, okay, that's the thing we want to pay a lot of attention because we have an individual chapter, chapter 15. We'll talk about supply chain. But now we'll introduce this concept here. Supply chain, you can see it's a chain. Well, it's very obvious by the name. We know it's a chain. It's a sequence of activities where there's organization involved. 2 reasons, right? Either manufacturing, producing, or provides the service. So let's say you are in the middle position, you are the manufacturer, you are the producer, right? You directly contact your downstream player, which is distributor, and also your direct supplier for components, for raw material. But maybe you contact indirectly or kind of directly to supplier. And also final customer you need to take care. Even you don't direct sell to them, right? You still need to take care. So that's the supply chain. Again, this is just an abstract picture for supply chain. This supply chain really can be very long. It can be like 10 players, even 100 players in the whole chain. And I would think nowadays not a chain, it's a network. They should have different players in the middle. Well, for example, use several suppliers instead of just one supplier. It's not a straight line. Nowadays, you should think about like it's a network. Okay, now we have discussed the operation management and supply chain management. The first question in this semester I want to ask you now is discussion that what's the difference between operations management and supply chain management? Now we know what is operation management, right? We know what is supply chain management. What's the difference, in your opinion? Any idea?
Supply chain is getting the goods from, depending on what you're doing, the goods all in order to produce something. Operations management generally watches the production of the goods.
Production. Good point. Very good. Any other input? No idea. So that's the reason you are here. Okay. So think about, we have talked about C-level position, right? COO, what does COO mean?
Chief Operations Officer.
Chief Operation Officer. That is the position existing for a long time, and like 50 years. Industry already have this position 50 years ago. Okay, another new C-level position we have mentioned last class is called CSCO. What does this mean? Chief Supply Chain Officer. This is pretty new. It's like last 10 or 20 years, some company like Unilever begin to create this position. Then you think about, okay, why Chief Supply Chain Office didn't exist 15 or even 30 years ago? Why? Because supply chain is a part of operations management. Okay, operation management, theoretically speaking, supply chain management is a subset of operation management. So traditionally, if you are COO, you take care of the supply chain. You are COO, you know. So, but now it's an independent job. The reason is that supply chain become more and more important. Even still, by concept, is subset of operation management. Like you said, okay, operation is watch the production. Operation is, when we heard about operation, we have, okay, we focus on internal activity. Operation, when we don't operate our supplier, we have right low authorization. We can't operate our like retailer store. They have their own operation. So when you think about operation management, okay, focus on our internal staff, internal operation, internal production, right? But when the supply chain is belong to the big picture of operation management, but it's more about other players, right, in the system. Right? It's require communication skill. It's require, for example, procurement or purchasing. Right? You can't do the purchase just by yourself, right? You have to make sure, right, your supplier gets the order and check the order quantity and the quantity. So that's the reason supply chain become more and more important, right? Okay, now you know that it's a subset of operation management, but now has a new position, CSCO. The reason is that supply chain become more and more important nowadays, so company has to create a different position up to C level. Okay, you guys, individual department, just take care of supply chain. Operation departments traditionally still focus on internal staff. So now I want to ask you, why supply chain become more and more important, or even we can say more and more challenging? That's the reason we create this position. Like 50 years ago, COO or maybe director of operations or operation manager, they can take care of supply chain. Why nowadays? Okay, COO, operation manager, they probably don't have time or energy or skill to take care of the supply chain. Why? Why supply chain become more challenging?
Technology.
Technology? Could you give the detail? Why technology make this
I was hoping
challenging?
somebody take that off of me, but I was just
You should take the credit, the responsibility. Right? Okay, just try. Well, how technology can make supply chain challenge?
just the depth of the systems and being qualified to be able to use them. I mean, that
Yes,
itself.
definitely an upgrade of system. But you talk about supply chain, I agree with you. The reason is that you need to get the same pace with your players. For example, okay, if you're a supplier, they upgrade their system, right? They let's say just Microsoft updates. They send you a file, you have used the old system, also you can't open that. That's a very simple example, right? But there's many complex here. Generally, technology upgrading or change, definitely. One place changing their technology can affect all other players in the supply chain. So that's, I agree. make supply chain management challenge. Any other reasons? Very good.
On time stuff. Used to be you just brought in everything, kept it in the warehouse, kept it on site, used it as you needed it. Nowadays, to save money and be more efficient, there's a time factor involved.
Very good points. You are already talking about inventory management, which is very important chapter in chapter 13, right? So nowadays, inventory is a big cost for most companies. They want to cut inventory cost. How can you do that, right? You can't do that by yourself because think about ideally speaking, everybody should carry zero inventory in your warehouse. That's in the ideal world, which means okay, your customer order, or you simultaneously your supplier ship to you, and you simultaneously just pass by your place, go to customer. This has no second stay in the warehouse. But we know this can't happen, right? It is definitely won't happen in near future. And that means we have to rely on our supplier if we want to cut our inventory, right? The reason we have inventory is that, okay, prepare customer coming to our store Walmart. We have that, right? Sugars or banana, whatever. We have in our shelf, in our warehouse, send the customer. And then after one day, okay, you say, okay, we need more banana. We order from supplier. But think about, if your supplier says you can only order once per week, then you have to hold 1 week's banana. Right? The quality, the problem, okay, maintenance cost, very high. Right? On the other hand, one supplier says, okay, I can replenish your banana every 3 hours. Do you see the difference? Right? For you, right? You don't need to hold a lot. Right? That's about supply chain. That's you can't do by yourself, right? You just select supplier. Same thing, distributor, it's the same thing, right? The thing we really care for the whole supply is the final customers. If the distributor doesn't do a good job, right? Always disappoint customer, delay the delivery. Even you do your best, every time the distributor order from you, you send simultaneously. Doesn't matter. And the customer will still complain, okay, your GM, okay, I wait for your car for like 1 month. That's a dealership's problem. But you can't say, okay, this is dealership problem, this is not my problem, right? This definitely will hurt you in the long term. So another reason we want to mention is that it's the globalization. You think about 50 years ago, right? If you have a manufacturing like North Carolina, we are very famous on furniture industry, right? You think about 50 years ago. Okay, we produce furniture in North Carolina. Most likely our material, I don't know, probably you know that's probably from like some forest in like Asheville area or South Carolina, something like that. We have forests, right? We cast the wood and made the furniture. Our manufacturing is here. Our retailer store is here in the high points, right? So we do have supply chain 50 years ago, but it's pretty short. It's very reachable. Well, you can drive a car to the forest, you'll say, okay, well, this good quality is not good. You can control the quality. The shipping time is very short, right? What's happened nowadays? Given the globalization, what's happened?
Suppliers are all over. I mean, you have to come from a long way.
First, supply is far away from you. Far away. Can be any country, can be any states, right? Even you say you still have supply you trust made in US. But nowadays, I really doubt you can only look at North Carolina and South Carolina. If a good supply in California, you will definitely order from this supplier. But if you order from California as a raw material, you know that the time, your waiting time is very long compared to North Carolina supplier. But we know the reason, right? The different supplier far away can provide a better quality, cheaper price. That's the reason, okay, we expand our business globally, at least in different states here. So all this technology globalization and also you mentioned it's the competitive competition, fierce competition, or make company has to cut the cost. When company has to cut the cost, they have to strengthen their supply chain. They have to choose different supplier. They have to have the backup plan. They have to reach their customers. They have to take care of every player in this very long, complex supply chain, which makes supply chain management much more challenging than before. And that's why CEO is overwhelming for a typical manufacturing company. CEO already need to pay a lot of attention on internal manufacturing. Then you say, I have to discuss, you travel to China, travel to Germany to discuss something with my supplier. I don't have time, right? So that's the reason many companies, okay, have this new position up to C-level supply chain management. I talk like 5 minutes about this. The reason is that if you want to pursue a career in supply chain management, that is a good career. Like Tim Cook definitely is a role model. Okay, Tim Cook, which is CEO of Apple, right? He's a role model. You most likely any of us won't become Tim Cook, that level. But generally speaking, supply chain creates a lot of opportunity. When you think about Apple, I have to do the survey, right? Most of you guys has or had Apple's products, including myself. As iPhone 5S. Well, I never use Apple's products until 2 years ago. My mom said your Windows phone, Nokia, is broken. It has crack on screen and it's Windows phone. She said, I will give you a gift, iPhone 5S. Well, at that time, my wife already have iPhone 6 Plus. But anyway, I say, okay, if you want to give to me, I will take that. So I have iPhone. My wife definitely has different generation of iPhones, mini pad, and whatever. I'm not a big fan of Apple. But I have to admit, as a professor in this field, Apple is one of the best company on operation management, especially supply chain management. You guys definitely know Apple is very good at marketing, as design, right? That's probably the reason you choose Apple's products. But do you guys know Apple is very good at supply chain? You know that? You know that, right? You know that's one iPhone you purchase, like iPhone 6. How many countries provide these components to combine together to iPhone 6? Do you know that? Just one iPhone.
It's
How
5
many?
or 6.
Huh?
It's 5 or 6 at least.
No,
More than that.
More than a dozen countries,
Really?
like 15 countries. So if you see different components in this iPhone, they come from a dozen of different countries. Now imagine if even that's part of the United States, it can be from any state. You think about if just one final product coming from 12 different countries, this supply chain is really challenging. But we all know that Apple's products are very reliable, very, very reliable. It's probably much more reliable than an iPhone just produced in US, right? Probably the most reliable phone in or digital device in the markets. The reason is that Tim Cook or other people do very, very good job in Apple. They have very long supply chain, but they manage it so well, they cut the cost so low, keep the high quality. So Apple, very interesting. 2 years or last year, I see an industry report about cell phone industry. You know that? Cell phone industry, if we exclude Apple or iPhone, the whole industry in that year almost lose money. Negative profits. All other brands together, Samsung, Motorola together, lose money. Well, that's the reason they lose money, because this market is very important, right? Everybody, even they lose money in cell phone, they probably can get some money, right, from other parts, because everybody know your brand. That's the reason. But anyway, Apple earn a huge profits. We all know the reason. One reason is that their price is very expensive. That's the reason I don't like Apple, because I don't want to purchase any overpriced product. But I have to admit, well, that's the reason they charge high price, because you guys, many people still go to purchase that, no matter what's the price. Right? But they can charge that price. But on the other hand, cost. With the very complex supply chain, management very well, their cost is extremely low. I can tell their cost is lower than Samsung. And then how can you compete with Apple? You can't sell the same price with them, okay? The image is that high, and then their cost is this low. So that's the reason Apple is one of the most successful company in the world, and it will continue to be the most successful company. Because Steve Jobs, Tim Cook, they know that, okay, this high price, overprice, can't last forever. We all know that, right? It's already gradually decreased. The gap between iPhone and the other elite cell phone are smaller and smaller, right? The gap. But as long as their cost is this low, doesn't matter. They can begin the price competition 2 years later with Samsung. They will still win because the cost is very low. That's very important. We need to learn from Apple, right? Not just see the appearance. Oh, hey, you have fancy products. Always think about, we're doing operation, man. We have to cut our cost. Even now, we can charge a high price for the customer, but on the same time, we should always keep our costs low. That's the purpose. All right. Okay. Process. The process is that we transform the inputs to outputs, given the conversion process. Right? For example, manufacturing, assembling, right? And the painting, something like that, polishing. So feedback and control are widely used to control the process. Okay, now we are talking about different industries for manufacturing and service. Right? automobile industry still making is like almost pure manufacturing industry. It has a little bit of service. Well, home modeling is more in manufacturing, but it definitely have the service, right? You want to show the like a floor plan to your customer. You can teach them why this floor plan is good, or material, why this material is more environmental friendly. So that's like service, right? But most jobs are like you do the hard work. Computer repair or restaurants. Okay, for example, restaurant is like half and half. Okay, why restaurant industry is like half manufacturing and half service? Why? Restaurants. You guys go to restaurant every day, right? Almost every week.
Because they're producing your food while also giving you a service of bringing the food out to you, serving it, getting you drinks, things like that.
That's right. That's exactly the major purpose we go to restaurant is to have their food, right? That's their product, right? They definitely combine raw material together by the shelf, and we have the product. But you think about different restaurants have totally different satisfaction level, but you don't expect the same. You don't have the same like sandwich. You go to a fancy restaurant versus McDonald's, the expectation is very different. So that's the service difference. So restaurant is there, right? But for some fast food, is most likely okay, more go to the manufacturing. But for high level, like some resorts, for the restaurant, is more like service, right? Okay, software definitely service. Some good provide like CD or something like that. Education, surgery, most likely would provide a service, but we still distribute some like exams, class loads. So that's like we would produce the product, but most parts we are doing the service. Okay. Again, talking about education or as a teacher, one thing I observe, not just me, many faculty observe here is that our students, you guys are generally very polite, respectable, hopefully, to the faculty. But many students are shy to ask questions for the faculty. I don't mean you have to always challenge your faculty, but you should ask questions, or any questions related to academia. So like we have advisor week, everybody has an advisor. When you approach graduation, it's another important time for you. You want to consult the faculty, staff, career center for career jobs. Very, very important. How to graduate, when you can graduate. Those are the resources. Those we are doing the service. We, as Chantal said, we change life through education. That's 99% service industry. Well, I would think about my job now is very similar to my consultant job before. Except, okay, when I do the consultant job, I have to beg, okay, my clients, when they're up to C level in Unilever, I have to say, okay, be very right. And now probably I have some authority. But you think about it's the same. It's a service. The purpose is that we want our clients become better and better. Now, who is our clients? You guys. Right? Only purpose that you come to UNCP, you graduate, or you leave UNCP, you should be a much, much better person in all the field. If we can't reach that, that means we are not doing very good service job. But we have resource. You have to use that. Well, my clients, you name a craft, they use us a lot. They give me a call at 6 a.m. Well, when I do their Indian projects, they set a meeting time on 11:30 p.m. in US. The reason they set 11:30 because the Indian time zone, they have half-hour time zone. So 11:30 there is like integer number for them. We have to meet on 11:30 to 1 a.m. with our client. Well, definitely we won't work here. If you send me email on 12 a.m., I probably will only reply you on next morning. I can't reply, I can't stand by, right? But idea is same. You pay the tuition fee, you use whatever resource we have here. Although we are not your slavers, don't make me wrong, right? But we are resources for you guys. Beyond we are teacher or staff or anything, we are your resource. Try to use this resource. When you graduate, it's very important. Get advising, get idea, let people to polish your resume. I did that to my students, definitely for free. Polish the resume, do the mock interview with your friends. Those are all very important. I find the problem is that here, I have a student choose my class last semester. He will graduate this semester. I met him in the parking lot like last week. I asked him, okay, have you begun to search the job? He said, no. I said, you have to do this now because you are graduating in 4 months. You should be now. Otherwise, it's too late. Anyway, use the resource because you are in this service industry. Manufacturing service. Okay, generally speaking, when we switch from manufacturing industry to service industry, it's make our management more and more complex or challenging. Degree of customer context, which industry is higher? For this one, manufacturing industry is higher or service industry is higher? Service, right? Uniformity of inputs, which one is higher? Manufacturing or service? Manufacturing, right? More standard, right? Labor content of jobs, which industry is higher? Labor content of jobs. It depends. I would say it really depends. But for many manufacturing, it's very labor intensive. Right? Okay, measurement of productivities is very different. You think about it, we can't say degree in this, but how we measure the performance of manufacturing, really, how we measure that? There's so many measurements. Can you think about some measurements if you work for the manufacturing industry? Let's say you produce the computer. Then, what can be measured?
Quantity.
Quantity. Yeah, quantity is very important. You also think about the time. So basically, it's output rate, right? Every hour, every day, how many computers you produce, right? What about service industry? How we measure our performance?
Quality.
Huh?
Quality.
Quality. Right? Like customer survey, right? Most important. Okay, we can have like 10,000 students here, but you know that if we given our current capacity, if our campus have 10,000 students, I can't imagine. When I came to UNC 5 years, it's harder and harder to find a parking lot place. Okay, especially in the beginning of the semester, I think many freshmen just park in the faculty lots for whatever reason, right? Maybe they needed to check their English level before coming to UNC Pembroke. But anyway, that's the problem. The capacity not enough. When I came here in 2012, I think, oh, this university is luxury. They have a huge parking lot. Any time. You come to school on 11 a.m., on 2 p.m., there's so many parking spaces. Not anymore. Really not anymore. Because I was from Purdue. In Purdue, if you go after 10, no way you have any parking place. For some very popular garage, you have to get a place before 8. Otherwise, you have to take the shuttle from like the stadium to some building in the campus. But UNC, we still have that. But think about if we increase the size, our customer service, that's you guys, will decrease a lot if we don't change the capacity. So production and delivery, what's the difference between manufacturing and service for production and delivery? Any difference?
Well, delivery like comes after production. I mean, for sure. I mean,
Yes.
like delivery is like getting what you produce to the customers.
That's right. What about service industry? When we talk about delivery, what does it mean service industry? Is that very special compared to manufacturing for delivery for service industry?
Well, you know, if you like order a pizza, like the restaurant delivers the pizza to you, so that's like a service.
Yeah, that's like a service. But to think about like, let's think about pure service. You can use still psychology, right? Do the counseling job. Can you have some inventory for counseling? No, you can't, right? You have to be 2 people same time in the same room and to talk, right? That's service. But for manufacturing, you definitely can hold. For example, even grocery store, right? Walmart or Harris Teeter, they have this service. They just you order online, they put in the queue, they give you the passcode, you just take that grocery from Harris Teeter, right? That's you can hold that. That's for manufacturing. But for service, you can't hold. Right? Quality, well, you have mentioned that service industry definitely is we pay much more attention on quality. Right? Inventory. Service, we don't have any inventory. We can't store our service. Can we? Maybe a little bit. If we talk about like class video, well, that's kind of service. But generally, we can't have any inventory for service. Evaluation are very different. One is like goods oriented. What is the quality or quality of your production goods? Another is customer oriented. Right? What the customer like you? Right? It's very different. Okay, and the patent design. Well, For the service industry, we all know that customers are so important, even for manufacturing. So to make customer happy, it's a lesson all of us has to learn through our whole life. Like I share my experience with you guys. Okay, I work as a broker after finish my budget. This is my first full-time job as an equity broker in the finance industry. I learned that from this job is that, okay, IQ probably is not the most important thing in money industry. EQ is the most important thing to deal with your customer, to make your customer happy. Well, we have customers, they are well educated, they know how to invest the money, but they just like maybe a pretty girl with high school degree instead of you from very good school with math degree. That's happened for me. Well, you can't blame this customer, say, yeah, you just like pretty girl. Probably that's the one reason, but maybe that's the most important reason. Just maybe approachable. Okay, it's a personality, personal feeling. Okay, I probably was too nerdy for him. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason. Well, he doesn't like a nerdy person. Even you can, my investment performance is much better than my colleague. Doesn't matter. No. So definitely some customers really like me instead of others. But generally speaking, is that we know that customer is really tough to handle. We think about it. Many of you already have customers, even you don't have job, like your boyfriend, girlfriend, right? That's a long-term customers. So you have to make your customer happy. Definitely, your customer has the same responsibility to make you happy. It's not easy. Huh? So we have talked about why we should study operation management. Some big name like Tim Cook, Era, and the CEO of Procter & Gamble, right? So that's a good example in industry. They're very successful business person in a very high level position. They with the background of operation management. But in detail, let's first put the dream aside. Let's talk about the daily job. Why it's so important? Okay, because operation and management relate to almost all other fields in the company, from financial service to marketing to accounting to information. For financial, for example, if you have really bad inventory management, your financial statement can't be good. You have a lot of money stuck in your warehouse, right? Marketing, your marketing can do a fantastic job to promote your product, but you have delivery problem. Customers like your product, but they wait for months to get your products, which make marketing department job useless, right? Accounting, similar to finance, right? Make good balance sheet or income statement. Information service, or this supports your supply chain or operation management. If you have some contradiction, okay, you don't understand the new software, it can make big mistake. Okay, after we learn the operations and the supply chain management, you should have a better understanding about the whole world you live in, especially given the globalization, supply chain, the global dependence of company and the nations, reasons why some companies succeed, like Apple, right? Or some company doesn't work very well. Why it's important to working with others? It's all about collaboration. When you guys choose this major, I would assume you guys at least accept to work with others. Otherwise, I didn't see the point to choose the business major. Right? Even you are doing entrepreneur, you still have to work with others. If you really is like individual person, just nobody bother me. My previous major is perfect for you, mathematics, right? Or physics, or something like that. So it's extremely important you collaborate with others to do the work. We have 2 group case study in this class. In the group case study, you have to work with your teammates. My rule is that, I can tell you in advance that. In the group case study, let's say you guys 4 people in the same group. Okay, if somebody told me Joseph is so lazy, never do any job. I know you are not this type of person, Joseph, but anyway. So let's assume that Joseph will get 0. If all the class teammates tell me that, you will get 0. But in the reality, even you get 0, it still affects your teammates, right? If 3 people do the work, you can't compete with other group with 4 people, right? You will give Joseph 0. I can't say, okay, I increase your scores just by nature because you only have 3 people. I can't do that. But that's your group's problem. I can give punishment on this individual, but for the rest, you are still affected. It's always about teamwork, right? Even that's faculty or your supervisor, they can't be fair. It's really hard, right? It's really hard to really treat you in the way you think it should be fair, right? So, which means collaboration is very, very important. Three major functions in almost all organizations: marketing, operations, finance. So that's we have. What is C-level position for these departments? Marketing, C-level position. CMO, right? This is COO. What about this? CFO, right? It's not UFO, CFO. Next Monday we have the sun eclipse. That's next Monday? Right?
Solar.
Okay. Do we still have class? Definitely we'll have class. Yeah. Do you know the time? Is that on afternoon or morning?
Between 1 and 2 o'clock or
Oh,
something
that's.
like that.
Oh, I have another class at that time. So probably something will skip the class. Anyway, it won't affect our class though. Okay. Overlap. So they're related to each other. They're related to each other. Let's first not talk about operation. We'll talk about operation the whole semester. Talk about these two departments, finance and marketing. Raise your hand if your concentration is marketing here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 students. Raise your hand if your concentration is finance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Okay, very similar. Okay, especially for this concentration. How, and give me example, generally. These two departments, finance and marketing, has to work together or interact with each other. You're in these two concentration, you should know beyond your concentration, right? Even you are not in this concentration, definitely more than welcome to talk about your.
Are you asking how marketing operations work together?
No, marketing and finance.
Oh, marketing. and
Yeah.
finance.
Give me example. You have to work together, or you have negative impacts or positive impacts on other departments if you do a poor good job. Give me any example.
Well, you need the finances to market your products. So,
Why?
like, Apple needs money to
Mhm.
advertise their products, like the iPhone 7 or the iPhone
Budgets,
6.
right?
Budget.
Yes, yes. Definitely. That is for almost every department that has your bag of finance department. We need money, right? Very good. Any other example? These two departments, finance and marketing.
You don't have a lot of finances if you don't market well. If you don't
Yeah.
sell, I mean, those two
Definitely.
have to work together to create profit.
Well, I was gonna say like, marketing, you have to analyze your competitors, like, and just what the general market opinion is, and with finance, you also have to like analyze the economy as well. You know, just
Yeah, that's related. Like they can share the research results,
Yeah, so,
marketing
yeah.
research, and also.
yeah, so you
from-
kind of have to research the
Yes, very good,
environment.
very good.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all good examples, right? Marketing and finance, they have to work together. We all know that. Okay, similar for operation and finance. How give an example why operation has to work with finance or have impact on finance? An example, operations and finance?
Well, like it says on there, the provision of funds. If you have so much for your production and then so much for the amount of like goods that you're gonna like, because you gotta pay your workers and you have to pay for the
Definitely.
the raw materials,
Definitely.
and then like you have to pay for the marketing also. It's just like the funds all together. Like,
That's right.
operations.
Yeah, the finance definitely have a big impacts on operation. But what about operation? Does operation has some impacts on finance? Do they? How? Example? Operations affects the finance department's performance.
Well, because if you're not producing well, if you're not maximizing the output,
Yes.
you're going to have issues with the finance.
Big picture, definitely. If you have a bad operation, finally, you will show your sales number. The effect. Another something you think about that, for example, budgets, right? Okay, when finance departments make their budgets, usually based on forecasting. Right? You forecast that. Okay, your marketing department say, okay, that's our events on like Labor Day, okay, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So that's why we need this money. Right? Same for operation. So okay, we forecast our sales on September is 100, October 200, and November 300. So that's the reason you need to give the money for raw material, for inventory management, for labor. But if you make the wrong forecasting by operation management department, and then the budget can be totally wrong because the budget is rely on your forecasting, right? So that can create a problem too. Right? Okay, similar operation marketing, we know that's where like I will give you example. If marketing did a very good job as operation, okay, you can't deliver on time. Doesn't matter too much. That's a lot of opportunities in operation management and supply chain career opportunities. Include the manager position, operations manager, supply chain manager. Include the analyst, which can be the entry level position. And the schedule coordinator, which we'll cover on chapter 16, scheduling. Production, more manufacturing parts, manager. Industrial engineering, that's the background of Tim Cook, or his degree is like engineer. Purchase management, some company will call it procurement management, it's the same thing. Inventory manager, quality manager. So like these two positions are like a little bit high, generally it's a little bit higher position, it's just manage a different function here. And the rest are focused on some individual function or field, right? But there's a lot of opportunities on this field. For example, we can do a quick search online. It's also a test for you guys. So, any of you already begin the jobs hunting? Raise your hand. If you already begin the full-time after graduate job hunting, raise your hand. You? Only one? Okay. But you must know which websites, some websites you use for job hunting. Anybody can tell me which website you use for job hunting? Indeed. Okay, let's try this one. Indeed.com. If you have lost use that, you should remember this website. I agree, it's very, very useful website. Let's think about which city is the biggest city in North Carolina?
Charlotte.
Yeah, okay. Let's just choose Charlotte. Let's use the keyword supply chain. That's 908 jobs now currently available just in Charlotte area. We're gonna do the similar thing for Raleigh. 424 jobs. So the opportunity is there. We don't need to go to the, we can go a little bit, but you can think about like this is planner job. This is the purchase manager. We have talked about that. Procurement is the same as purchasing. Vendor, inventory, okay? That's the inventory analyst, purchase, right? That's purchasing. Inventory, logistics about transportation, transportation coordinator, supply chain planner, right. Warehouse associate is more about inventory. They have different jobs we have lists in our slides, right? You can find easily in any big city. There's a lot of opportunities in this field. Well, I also told my students that, okay, you come to here, most students is require, probably many of you are lost interest in this field, or okay, maybe you are lost interest in any field so far, but our job is very critical for the company. Because you think about, okay, for any organization, for profits, not like UNCP, non-profits organization. So our goal, almost for any organization, is to maximize the profits, right? Agree? That's like equal 1-1. This is the left side of the equation. What's about the right side of this equation?
Revenue.
Revenue, very good. And what?
Minus expenses.
Minus cost, right?
Yeah, costs.
That's the econ 101. But those econ, you don't need to come to school business. Probably you know that when you are in elementary school, you already know that, right? Okay, so in the school of business, we are always focused on this field. If you think about so many class, especially 4,000 level class, while we talk about different subjects, but at the end, it has to show up here. Either revenue or cost. I will think about many people, or most people, or even include myself, we like the fancy part, which is revenue. You think about finance. Well, when you choose a finance major, definitely, well, invest a lot, earn a lot. That's revenue. Huh? Marketing, same. Okay, definitely. For most marketing departments, they want to expand their marketing share, which means their revenue keep increase. Okay, that's really shining part. Well, we are not doing the shining part in this class. We are doing the cost here. We are doing the cost. All the things we discuss here is to cut our costs. Why we travel to China to meet with our client, our supplier once per month? If that won't cut our costs, we won't go do that. We are not marketing manager. Marketing manager go to China That's for marketing, right? If we are operation manager, we go to China, that's all about our costs. Right? Why we have to deliver the food as fast as we can to the customer satisfaction, cost the cost. Otherwise, complaints is very expensive, or shortage is very expensive, penalty cost. So we are doing that. But you think about it, if we focus on just profits, this equivalent important. You can't say, okay, revenue is more important than cost, right? It's the same. You save $10 here, that means you get $10 on profit. You increase $10 in revenue, you get additional $10 in the profit. So they are equivalent. But many people, not just us, many people in industry, they focus on the shining part of revenue. Revenue. Many people trade stock, right? You always look at what's the sales. But many people will ignore, kind of neglect the cost of this company when they see their financial statement. But you think about it, when we talk about profit, their equivalent is important. So that's what we are doing, is to always cut the cost. So generally speaking, as a faculty in this field, you have to be a very cheap person. Cheap person means, okay, you seek for cheap price. So don't blame on me. I never purchase any Apple's products. I told my wife, okay, I have to be the role model for my students. Right? Always search for the products with the highest ratio of the price and the quality. Unfortunately, I agree. Apple's product probably has the highest quality, but the price is overcharged. So that's the reason. That's one reason I now purchase Apple's products. But that's our field. It's not fancy, but you know that it's important, especially during the recession. Well, you guys experience the recession. I know you are kids, but probably your family, your parents, they are affected by the recession from 2008 to 2012, right? During the recession, my previous company developed a lot. Before the recession, they only have like 30-something employees. I was hired by the company in 2010, which is the worst time. When I was hired, the unemployment rate is 11%. What's the current rate? 4%? 11% unemployment rate. I was hired by the company because at that time my previous company is expanding. Our CEO told us, we like recession. Why? Why this company? We are doing supply chain, they like recession.
Things cost less.
Yes, those things cost. The company, like our company, they have to focus on the cost. Because in the recession, there's no way you can increase your revenue. Your revenue will decrease. It only depends on how much it will decrease. Right? Everybody suffer. There's almost no way during recession you can't do anything to increase your revenue. But you can always do something on the cost. No matter you are in the good time like Apple or you are during recession. So during recession, we have so many kinds of things come to back up. So please begin our project as soon as we can to cut our costs. I will pay you like $1 million. They have a lot of money. They pay the company $1 million, but they save several $1 million. So always remember that no matter your company or your organization is in a good position or not good position, operation management is always important. Okay, we'll see you guys next week.
When I 13th edition said 2012, all of them 12. I think it's the same thing, but it's up. Okay. 13th edition.